Hi everyone, Al DeMarco here, General Manager, DeMarcoSports.com, and this is going to be your Saturday video report. A number of college complimentary plays coming your way, and of course with the college comp plays, I am on a 12-3 run since last Saturday. Unfortunately, on Friday, the two NBA complimentary plays both failed me as the Thunder and Magic went down in flames. But on Friday, my best bet, my first NBA raised the bar 20-dime release, scored as the Pelicans, despite a miserable performance in garbage time where they almost blew the cover, did hang on, laying 7.5, beating Philadelphia by 8. I'm now on a 24-10 NBA run over the past 15 weeks. And today, college hoops again, raised the bar, 20-dime winner, number 4 in a row is going to be my best bet. I found a road chalk on today's card that I think is severely undervalued. I think this team wins easily by at least 9 points. And just like the Pelicans last night, just like South Florida laying 7.5 by 13 over Tulane on Tuesday, and just like Connecticut, a 15-point chalk winning by 30 over Seton Hall last Saturday, this is going to be another raise to bar 20-dime release. And it is once again the half-price play of the day using coupon code HALF, because I have never believed here since I started these sites 21 plus years ago that you have to spend big money to make big money. So that is my lineup for today. Hey, real quick, I just want to mention something before I get to the college complimentary plays. In yesterday's video report, I happened to touch on the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul BS bout that they may have, and I brought up something about Tyson, that the Tyson that you may think you may remember is not really the Mike Tyson in the latter stages of his career, that the Tyson that was the fierce animal, the guy that just would get into the ring and pulverize somebody. That Tyson disappeared after he beat up Michael Spinks in 91 seconds back in 1991. That was the last time we really saw the real Mike Tyson get into the ring. And just a quick addendum to that story. So, as I've alluded to in the past, you know, I covered boxing and all the big bouts for that time period. So, that particular bout, I was supposed to go to Atlantic City and Convention Hall and cover that fight. But it was Mike Tyson. And I'm in Philadelphia. I'm in the suburbs of Philadelphia at that particular time. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, do I want to really drive 2.5 hours down to Atlantic City? I wasn't covering the undercard to see Mike Tyson get rid of somebody in a couple of rounds. And back in those days, before cell phones, before the internet, the way that I used to do round by round coverage for the National Wire Service I was working for was literally you'd get on the phone in the press box, and somebody else who would type equally as fast as I did, and I typed like 140 words a minute, would be on the other side of the phone, and I'd be doing play-by-play, they'd be typing it, and they'd be taking turns, 2 guys, 1 round each, alternating, and they'd be sending it out over the wire for TV and radio stations to get. That's how we did it. Before the internet, before cell phones, boys and girls, this is how technology worked. And I thought, man, do I want to go to Atlantic City just for this crap? So instead, I went to the Spectrum in Philadelphia, which is no longer, no, it's the Spectrum. I don't even know. It's been so long since I've been back there. Anyway, went to the Spectrum, and I was going to go to the press box and, you know, do my play-by-play there and watch it on closed-circuit TV. So I hit traffic. I get into the Spectrum. We stop. I'm with another guy there. We're covering it. And all of a sudden, the fight is ready to start. And I'm thinking to myself, when did the fight start on time? I'm in the corridor of the Spectrum. I find a payphone. I'm watching it on closed-circuit TV above a refreshment stand, doing the play-by-play, and ends in 91 seconds. I do the play-by-play. My friend and I, we get a beer, we get a soft pretzel, we walk out of the Spectrum, and we leave. That's it. Never bothered getting inside the press box, never did anything else, didn't have to write a story about it, over and done with. Had to be the best fight I ever covered. In terms of shortness, in terms of brevity, I didn't have to do a lot of work either. But anyway, that's my little story about that. By the way, Michael Spinks, and I don't mean to belittle him either, Michael Spinks had, you know, listen, he was one of the greatest light heavyweight champions and a nice man as well. People don't realize it. If you go back, and you can probably find it on YouTube, Michael Spinks beat a lot of good boxers in the light heavyweight division. I think he won his first championship by knocking out Marvin Johnson. He had that war with Dwight Muhammad, what did he change his last name? Dwight Muhammad Quali. And that fight, by the way, came only like 2 months after the tragedy that he endured, where his wife, who was then 24 years old, was killed in a car accident and left him with a 2-year daughter to raise by his own at the time. So Michael Spinks was a hell of a lightweight champion. Won the championship as a heavyweight by beating, Larry Holmes, but Holmes was like 35, 36 the 2 times they met. A younger Larry Holmes, I think, would have destroyed him. And frankly, in the second match, I really thought Holmes outpointed him. But, you go back in time, you look at these things on YouTube, it gives you a different perspective. Okay, let's get to the college basketball plays. Again, if I had to talk just about gambling all the time on these video reports, it would drive me crazy. Let's take a look at the game between... Geez, do we want to talk about Abilene Christian? Are you effing crazy? No, I don't want to talk about Abilene Christian. Let's take a look at Duke and North Carolina. Here's what's at stake. North Carolina wins this game. They win the ACC crown outright. If Duke wins this game, well, they're basically essentially tied for first place in the ACC. And then there's like 7,000 tiebreakers that'll decide who gets the top seed in the upcoming tournament. Now, when North Carolina won in Chapel Hill in the first go-round, the key to North Carolina's success, they were far more physical than the Blue Devils in that game. Out-hustled them, out-rebounded them, got Duke's big men into foul trouble. Can they do the same here on the road? That's really the question. The other thing is that Duke was sloppy. 11 turnovers led to North Carolina's 19 points. That's free points. Also, Duke didn't shoot particularly well. 5 for 19 on threes. But you have to look at the disparity in the free throws. And it's something I've alluded to in the past, that I always look in matches where you're looking at possibly a rematch and revenge. How did the teams do in terms of free throws in the first go-round? Well, listen, North Carolina, playing at home, had more free throws made, 18, than Duke had in attempts, 11. Of course, North Carolina was going to have an advantage at the free throw line. They were playing at home. It's just natural that the home team is going to get the benefit, whether fair or not, of more whistles going in their favor. But also, in that particular game, because North Carolina had such an overwhelming presence down in the blocks, Duke got themselves in early foul trouble and just couldn't contend. So that brings you to the game here tonight. Head-to-head, when these two teams have met with the ACC crown on the line, Duke is 0-8 lifetime. It's a 5.5-point number. I was tempted to go with Duke in this contest, but I've got to tell you, North Carolina is just playing with so much confidence. I was impressed that the Tar Heels did not get caught looking ahead to this game on Tuesday when they destroyed Notre Dame at home. Does Duke have the advantage of having one extra day of preparation? Absolutely. But at 5.5, I got to go and take North Carolina as the road dog. If this line was 3 or 3.5, which I originally thought early in the week it would be, I would have been siding with Duke. But I think plus the points is the way to go in this particular contest. Here's another one between big rivals, and it's in the Ivy League, a league that I don't touch on too much. But you've got Princeton, a 6-point favorite at Penn. It's been a down year for Penn. 11-17 overall, 9-5 at home at the Palestra. They've lost 10 of their last 12 games. You got Princeton 23-3 on the season with 8 straight wins, and Princeton is a 6-point favorite. Now, true, they only won by 7 at home in the first go-round back in early February. But you're telling me I can get the team that's 23-3 minus 6? I don't care if it's a rivalry game. Princeton is head and shoulders better than the Penn Quakers, and I'm going to go with them in this spot and go with Princeton in that rematch. The next game, here's kind of an interesting one, by the way. Georgia Southern is taking on Appalachian State at 12:30 Eastern Time in Pensacola. It's one of your Sun Belt Conference games. Now, No ifs, ands, and buts. App State is the better team. This is a team that's carrying a 7-game winning streak into the postseason tournament. It's the number 1 seed, 26-5 this year, 8-4 on the road. And again, I realize it's a neutral site game, but as I always like to say, you have to at least look at a team's road record, even when it's a neutral site game, because if they ain't playing at home, they have to be considered a road team, even in neutral site games. So how have they fared going into a postseason tournament under those situations? This is going to be App State's debut. They, of course, closed their season last Friday, 8 days ago, with a win at home against Arkansas State. Georgia Southern has the advantage, having played yesterday. So they've got a win under their belt. They upset South Alabama as a 3-point underdog, 76-71. They are getting 13.5 points today. Now, are they a 9-23 team? Yeah. Is App State 26-5? Yeah. But look at the 2 regular season meetings. The first game, Georgia Southern lost by 10 as a 16-point underdog. In the second game, at home, Georgia Southern, as an 11-point underdog, took App State to overtime and lost by 1. Again, Georgia Southern has a game under its belt. App State has been idle for 8 days. I always think that in these opening round of the tournaments, the college conference tournaments, when you have the lower seed with a game under its belt and the top seed, which had been playing peak performance, having a lengthy layoff, and you're getting a double-digit dog, why not? So I like Georgia Southern plus the 13.5 points. And remember, that game goes at noon Eastern. So of these 3 plays today, how would I rate them? Well, guys, listen, I'm going to go with Princeton, number 1. I'm going to go, believe it or not, Georgia Southern, number 2. And then North Carolina, number 3 on your board today. A couple other games I looked at. I looked at another game in the Sun Belt between Arkansas State, a 2-point favorite over UL Lafayette. The Raging Cajuns coming off an 80-66 win as a 10.5-point favorite over Coastal Carolina yesterday. They won the only regular season matchup back on January 26th as a 4-point favorite, 81-75. Arkansas State, not a great team this year, but a money-making team against the spread, 19-11-1. They have been idle since losing last Friday by 23 points at App State. Prior to that game, they had won 6 straight and 8 out of 9, both straight up and against the spread. And in that stretch, they beat the 3rd-place team in the Sun Belt, Troy State, twice. But this is another situation. I lean toward the underdog, UL Lafayette, by virtue of them winning the regular season meeting, and since they have that game under their belt. The only reason I shy away from that particular contest is I'm only getting a couple of points. You know, if I'd been getting 4.5, if I can magically increase the line, I would have taken the Raging Cajuns in that game. But again, I'd handicapped the contest, so I figured, what the hell, let's talk about it. And that's pretty much it. So again, recapping the plays today, the favorite play, definitely Princeton, number 2, Georgia Southern, and number 3, North Carolina. And I lean a little toward UL Lafayette. That'll do it, guys. I wish you well, and talk to you again tomorrow.